The lefties are really hammering Speaker Mike Johnson more than they were in the beginning when he first took the speaker role. Hard to believe that was only 10 days ago. In the beginning, it was because he was a so-called MAGA extremist who supported an insurrection that never really happened. But the lefties and media realized that most Americans don't really care that he believes the election was stolen, because most Americans believe that as well, even if they don't say it out loud. They're now going after him because he is openly Christian. He talks about it a lot, and he doesn't apologize for any of it. Actually, there's nothing really to apologize for. Let's get into it. Hey guys, welcome back. So I did a video the other day on Jen Psaki on her MSNBC channel where she was arguing that Mike Johnson was dangerous because he believes in God. Psaki said of Johnson, quote, "So what exactly has God apparently called Mike Johnson to do? Well, his views on policy are essentially what you'd expect from a religious fundamentalist. They're more divisive than they are divine." I would say her statement there was more divisive than anything that Mike Johnson has said or believes. Now, the irony here is that God did not give Jen Psaki enough brains to understand that she is the one who was being divisive and not divine. Mike Johnson never said anything like that to her, and yet there she is trashing him because she calls him a religious fundamentalist. He's actually a fundamentalist Christian, which means simply that he believes that the words in the Bible came from God. The point I'm trying to make here is that the lefties in the media and on all the social media servers out there are trashing Mike Johnson as if he's some kind of jackass who just doesn't get it because he's a Christian and he doesn't hide it. In fact, he's very proud of it. But I would say that these new Christophobes are the ones who are actually out of line with the majority today in America, and absolutely they're out of line with our country's history. One of the founding fathers, who both conservatives and liberals have used since the time he lived as examples of goodness and the American spirit and the way that America should be, is former President Thomas Jefferson. Now, for all you lefties watching this, I am not about to compare Mike Johnson to Thomas Jefferson. I'm about to teach you a lesson in your stupidity. So here we go. The closer we got to Marxism, the lefties started writing that Jefferson was a deist. I don't even think they know what a deist is, but they always portrayed Jefferson as a man who did not believe in God. That's what they think a deist was. A deist, then, was someone who believed in God, believed in revelation, but has a question about the divinity of Jesus. In other words, they believed in a single God who created the world, but does not act to influence events. In the 18th century, deists invented their own natural theology. I would argue to you that when Jefferson wrote the Jefferson Bible, I think it put that Bullstein to rest, because his Bible is predominantly the words of Jesus Christ. That's what the Jefferson Bible is, the words written in red. That's what it's famous for. But here's some interesting stuff that this audience probably knows, but I'm certain the lefties don't know this about Thomas Jefferson. Okay, Jefferson wrote 19,000 letters on his views of religion. Out of those, there are 6 letters in which he raises some questions about Orthodox Christian teachings, and the left always concentrates on those and not the other 19,000 letters. Isn't that convenient? And the reason he wrote about Orthodox Christian teachings is because he was a non-denominational guy. All right? Jefferson signed presidential documents the way all presidents did, with "in the year of our Lord," but Jefferson added Christ to his signature to make "in the year of our Lord Christ." That's pretty cool for a guy who's a deist and doesn't believe in God, right? In December of 1800, while president, Jefferson started a church inside the U.S. Capitol. You heard that right. A church in the Capitol. The church he started in the Capitol became the largest church in America, where it serviced over 2,000 people a week who went to church inside the Capitol building. What was interesting was that he had ministers from all different denominations come to preach each week. It was a different one. Because like I said, Jefferson was not a denomination kind of guy. He didn't like any specific organized religion. This is where the progressives lie about Jefferson being a deist. Jefferson's church inside the Capitol became so popular that he started a second church inside the War Department building. Can you imagine that? He put a church in the boom boom box. And then eventually, get this, he created a third church because the demand was so high inside the Treasury Department building. Thomas Jefferson, in his first inaugural address, went to the press and said that there were 5 things that the federal government was supposed to do. He would know about it, right? I'll just tell you about the first one here to save time. The first one was acknowledge and adore God. This is the same Jefferson that you lefties like to point to. And this was because Jefferson believed that if you didn't understand God, then you didn't understand inalienable rights. So for the sake of the lefties, the concept of an inalienable right is what differed America from every other country on earth at the time and before that time. Up until then, the people got their rights from the monarchy, the king or queen, or generally speaking, the government, if you will. When the government gives you rights, the government can take them away as quickly as they gave them to you. This is why conservatives just shake their heads when lefties talk about rights, because they don't understand them. The only actual rights you have come from God: liberty, the pursuit of happiness, life. Those are just the 3 of them, right? There's many of them, though. When Jefferson wrote the Declaration, he said they were self-evident. Well, that means that if you were born, you never went a day to school in your entire life, you would still understand that you have the right to life, you have the right to liberty, freedom, and you have the right to pursue happiness, or as Jefferson meant by that, to own property. And I would say that those lefties who are attacking Mike Johnson today because of his Christianity are the ones who are on the outside of the mainstream. They are the radicals compared to a majority of Americans and the overwhelming length of our history as a nation. When they attack Christians in this way, it exposes their ignorance to the very things, the understandings and the nuances that gave them the very freedoms that they have today. And it is their attitude that trashes people of faith that has been destroying this country for decades with something like 1,000 cuts of Marxist propaganda. It would do them and the country good if they just read a little history or got themselves a pocket constitution and then had someone to explain to them what it means. It would be an unbelievable move forward for them and the nation because they sound like boobus Americans. All right, make sure you subscribe to our channel, share our videos with like-minded friends who want to stay informed with what's really going on. Thanks for watching this video. I'll see you in the next one.